Hey guys, it's Ryder. Hey, I've never done this before, but I thought I'd give it a try. I was doing some devotions this morning and just worshiping a little bit, and I was listening to a song. It's by Israel Houghton and Micah Massey. It's called Jesus Be the Center. And basically it's talking about how everything in our life is about Jesus and how just specifying even Jesus, you are the purpose for everything and the reason, and we want you to be the center. And as I was thinking about it and even kind of worshiping and stuff, I was kind of felt myself pointing at Jesus and pointing at him, and I just kind of realized the power of pointing, how important it would be if we were to stand up in front of a crowd of people and we were to just point to the back corner of the room, how everybody's head would turn and they would all look at whatever's in this corner, even if nothing's back there. And I was realizing, I've heard it even saying before, does your life point to Jesus? Do you point at Jesus with your life? And I'm like, man, if we, without our actions, without even our words, if we just pointed at Jesus, how powerful that would be, and even how many people would find it. And when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about signs and road, like specifically road signs, and thinking about how they point at things. If a sign points to the left, majority of us are going to turn to the left. If a sign says stop, the majority of us are going to stop. And just how simple a sign is, but truly how easy it is to follow and how many people do follow it. And I was thinking of signs and stuff, and then my mind started going into how the Bible says signs, wonders, miracles will follow those who believe. And maybe, I guess, for me, maybe it means more like actual, when we walk out our life, when we're living, our life leaves signs for other people to follow. Simple signs that people can go after and can follow and can end up at the destination that we're at, which is Jesus. And I just thought that was so cool that, you know, you think of these crazy miracles and these crazy signs, and that's true and that will happen too. But just even the simplicity of just basic signs following our life and going behind us that others can follow and others can be there. And I was thinking too, while I was doing this, I was reading where it talks about the narrow and the broad gate. And when I'd heard this before, it was almost a fearful thing for me. I always interpreted it as many will go through this broad gate and few will find this little gate. And I prayed with all my might that I would be one of the few that found the narrow gate. But it was always a very nervous thing for me. So I was reading it, and this is actually what it says. I'm going to read from New King James here. It's found in Matthew 7. It says, "Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go by it. Because narrow is the gate, and difficult is the way." And what it actually says, it says, "How narrow is the gate, and confined is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it." So when I was reading this, what I realized is the narrow gate, it actually says few will find it. It doesn't say anything about how many will enter it. It talks about how many will find it. And it doesn't even talk about the qualifications to enter the narrow gate. It just says the lack of being able to find it. And the broad gate, it says many will pass by it, not many will enter it. And passing by and entering are two different things. If you think about a big city gate, you think we pass by it every day. It says we're in this world, not of this world. But in the world, we pass by the broad gate. We pass by. And it's not as much a matter of ability to enter a narrow gate or ability to enter the broad gate. But people who enter the broad gate, it's a lack of choice for them. They've not found the narrow gate. They didn't even know that it was an option. They went through their whole life and they never found this narrow gate that it's talking about. So though we've interpreted it to be a thing that very few people can enter this narrow gate, and we may even be one that are unable to enter it, it's not about entering. It's not about qualifications. Jesus has his love. Jesus has his grace. And it's simply about finding the narrow gate that's so specific. So if you're one of the few, if you're one of those people who have found the narrow gate, we can be a sign that simply points to that gate, that makes it so simple for everybody else to follow and to find this narrow gate. Because of the love and grace of Jesus, many can enter that gate. So this is specifically saying, it says enter by the narrow gate. It's giving us the free option to enter, but we need to first find it. And if we find it, we can point others to that gate and get them to that place. And also, as I was thinking about this, if ever you guys have done a Where's Waldo thing, it's, you know, you're looking everywhere, you're scanning, you're trying so hard to find Waldo, and it seems like you can find everything but Waldo. But how much simpler would Where's Waldo be if there was a sign pointing at Waldo? If it said, oh, there's Waldo right there, then everybody would find Waldo. And it just hit me kind of like The Bible says in John 14:6, actually Jesus says this. He says that I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So Jesus is that way. So when it talks about the narrow gate, it's talking about Jesus. And he says, I am the way. I am the way you need to go. And nobody will come to the Father except through me. So I just was encouraged today that not about our works, not about our doing, but simply our pointing, that our life would be a sign to point people to Jesus, so that people would find the way, that they would find the narrow gate, that they can enter through Him and through His grace and through His love. So I just wanted to share that today. Hopefully it encourages somebody, and I love you guys. And